Okay. So, yesterday we were, we left at regression testing. Let's complete on, the remaining. Okay. So, we go to the next topic, that is acceptance testing. Okay. So, what is an acceptance testing? Acceptance testing is, it's a high level term. Okay, it's high level term. The more specific to acceptance testing is UAT, user acceptance testing. That is, more specific to the user. Okay, so here, what we do in the acceptance testing is normally we, test the requirements based on what are the customer specified requirements. Okay, so an example for this is, right, like let's say, a customer requested some feature, some functionality in an application. Okay, let's say some customer wanted some feature and they requested to add it in that website. So it goes through all those, it opens a ticket, they open a ticket, like and once it goes all those things, when the business is okay, and they add new feature. Once the new feature is there ready, it has to go this acceptance testing. That kind of testing is called acceptance testing. Okay, the more specific term for this is UAT, user acceptance testing, right? Okay, so far any questions in acceptance testing? Acceptance testing is a high level testing, which is done to verify the customer specified requirements. So whenever the customer, the customer requests some functionality or some feature, let's say, let's go here. Let's just see here. So let's say, customer required some, feature here. Okay, so they wanted some feature here, and they requested some feature, and they told, like, they have sent an email, like, from feedback. They have this feedback, right? Once they put in the feedback, once it goes to, okay, so once it goes to the business, okay, it has to go to the business. Once business verifies it, okay, and okay, so I'll be a little bit louder. I know you cannot able to hear, so I'll be a little bit louder. Okay. Okay, so now we were talking about this acceptance testing, where where the testing is done based on the customer specified requirements. Okay, so whenever the customer requests a feature, requests some functionality, okay, in that case it has to go to the business. Okay, once the business verifies it, everything is clear, then the testing has to be done. That's called acceptance testing. Okay, so that's called acceptance testing, and it is based on customer specified requirements. Okay, so I hope you guys can hear it now, right? Okay, so let's go to the next topic. Okay, so we'll go to load testing. So before going to the load testing, right, let me give some brief introduction about why do we need this load testing. Okay, so let's so we'll go through this performance testing. Okay, so what is performance testing? It is it is classified into two types. One is load testing, the other is stress testing. Okay, so we'll go through this. Why do we actually need this? Okay, why do we need this performance testing? Okay, so let's take an example here. Okay, so here we have, let's say, we have Amazon. Let's go to the Amazon.com, and these guys have designed this website, and they have bought one server. So they have one server, and they host this website into that server. Okay, so everything is good. Now this Amazon.com is accessed not just by one or two people, right? It is it is all over the world. Okay, anywhere in the world you can access this. You can literally you can buy from any part of your world. Okay, so you can buy anything from Amazon.com from anywhere. Okay, so millions of people access this URL per day. It's not, don't have to be a day, just might be per hour. Millions or billions people access this URL. So let's say you have this server. Okay, you have this server, and it can only accept 50 users. Let's say only 50 users. That server can handle this, and the people are not just clicking, they're just accessing this URL, right? Just accessing this URL. That means they are using this and just putting this, that's it. They are doing nothing. Just they're accessing this URL, and and this server is pretty small, and it can accept only 50 users at one point of time. Okay, 50 users, it can handle. It cannot go beyond 50 users. Okay, so let me ask you a question. So what happens when suddenly 100 people access this URL? Can anyone answer? What happens? We have this server. Okay, we have this server, and this website is hosted in the server, and it can handle only 50 users. It can handle only 50 users, but now suddenly 100 people are accessing this URL at the same time, at the same moment, at the same time. They're accessing it. Can anyone tell me what actually happens? Any idea? Right. Right. So exactly, it will be slow. It will be slow, and if proper precautions are not taken, it will be worse. Okay, it will be worse. Like the server may crash. Server may blown off. There will be a hardware failure. Okay, why? Because whenever a user accesses this URL, it takes some amount of resources. Some amount of resources like memory. It takes some memory. It takes some. The processor runs, right. So the processor runs fast. Once it runs fast, more people are trying to access it. It becomes faster, and it cannot handle at one point of time, right? It cannot handle one point of time, and the server gets blown. Okay, the hardware is is gone. So okay, so so it has some limited capacity. Okay, because whenever a user accesses this URL, okay, I mean just using it. We are not even talking about clicking any buttons here, right? We are not even worrying about these buttons. We are just trying to use this URL, and more than 100 people are using this URL at one point of time. The application becomes slow. The application becomes slow because server cannot process that many people at that point of time, right? So that's the that's the reason we need performance testing. So we want to make sure this website is up and running, right? We want to make sure the website is up and running, and we don't want to give any hard time for the customer, right? Customer are paying money, right? Customers are paying money. They want they're buying stuff from here. Okay. So now let's say what happens here. So what happens right now. Now we have two servers, right? We have two servers. Okay. server 1 and server 2. Now, whenever the user, let's say 100 people are logging into the same time. So, okay, so before that, right, there is something called load balancer. This load balancer is, is a software. It can be a both hardware and software. So it's a software which balances the load. Okay. Now, let's say 100 people are logging to this URL. Okay, just accessing this URL at the same time. What does that load balancer does? It takes out the 50 users from that and puts it to the another server. So now it balances the load, right? It balances the load. 50 users in one server, 50 users to the another server, right? So that's how you can use this. Okay. So we want to make sure. So what we are trying to achieve by doing this. We want to see the performance of an application, how the application is performing on a amount of load, on amount of stress, how the application is performing, how it's behaving. Is the application is slow? Is the application is getting crashed? Okay, so and how much amount of time it is taking to navigate from one page to another, all those things are recorded in performance testing. Okay, so let's see what are the various. There's performance testing is classified into two types. One is load testing, the other is stress testing. Okay. So let's go to let's quickly check in load testing. So what exactly is the load testing? So here by definition we have here, okay, testing an application under heavy load, such as testing website. Okay, loads to determine what kind of response time it fails. So we are trying to identify bottleneck of an application. So what's the bottleneck? That means the amount of time which the application gets crashed. Okay, so so normally this load testing is done not manually. It has to be a tool. So one tool, that is load runner. So one is called load runner. There's so many tools in the market. One is load runner. There is one more called load UI. You can use that. Load runner is pretty much simple. Okay, because in the load runner, what you do is you generate virtual users. So you need users, right? So because users are logging in here, we are working with users. So let's say 1,000 users, 2,000 users, and all these users. The load runner actually generates virtual users. So that's called virtual users. That means there are no real people. That load runner generates a load based on how much the real people puts the load. Okay, so that's a tool. Okay, load runner is a tool, okay, that is used for the load testing. Okay, so what we're trying to do here, we are trying to identify the bottleneck of an application. Okay, where the application gets crashed on some, it may be some users, let's say 1,000 users. Let's say there's, you added 1,001. So the application may get crashed. So we are trying to identify, the bottleneck. So here, what you do in load testing, you have graphs. Okay, so let's quickly check what are those graphs. So we check, we have a lot of graphs here. So there is throughput, memory usage. So let's quickly check. So here's the thing. So, in load testing, this is what we'll be doing. You have a lot of graphs. Okay, all the graphs are generated by the machine, the load runner tool. Okay, and all this is automatically plotted and saved in a result. So here you will identify, you will go to particular granularity of that particular instance, saying that, okay, these many users are logging in at this point of time, so the application gets crashed. Okay, so that's about the load testing. Okay, any questions so far in load testing? So load testing, so we are not going to do load testing practically, but yes, if you are interested, if you are really interested, I have a tool for this. Okay, I have a tool that's there in the Google Drive. I'll just share it with you, and you can use that. Okay, let's see. There is actually a lot of open source tools too. So I think Load UI. So Load UI is actually open source. Oh, good. So this Load UI is actually is a tool. I mean, you can just download it. On the Load UI Pro. Okay, so I think it's not Pro. You need this. You can go with I'm not sure exactly. So you can download it. Okay, and you can have this testing. Okay, go with the trial version. Try this. Okay, and you can use that. Okay, and maybe if I find something good tool, I But if you want to, I will give you the access to the Google Drive. Maybe by today or tomorrow, you can download it and you can use this. Okay. So by using load testing, you will only most of the time you will be generating the graphs. Why graphs? Because from that graphs you will be, you have the better understanding at what point of time will that application gets crashed. Okay, so there are so many graphs. Okay, so that's the load testing. Any more questions? So this performance testing is not really done by the QA tester, so that's a different field altogether. Load testing is done by the performance team. Okay, so here's the thing. So when you're in the projects, but there are so many people, there's a lot of hierarchy there. Okay, if you're a QA, you will be QA, right? You are the QA, and there will be another team who will be doing regression testing. So you will be doing manual testing. Let's say you'll be doing manual testing. You may or may not work with regression testing team too, because once you have done your testing, the next part is regression testing. Okay, then there's another team, there will be performance testing. Okay, you may not interact always with the performance team. Okay, once you have uploaded your test cases, they might see your test cases, how you're working, what are the scenarios. Okay, you'll may or may not be working with them. Okay, that's a performance. Then you also have one more called UAT, so as we said, right, user acceptance testing. Okay, it's not necessary, you both work at the same time. That's a different thing. Okay, so this is all the different teams you will be working on. Okay, so these teams you cannot relate to each other, but you may have to coordinate with them to achieve results. Okay, so whenever you want to let's say your boss told you to coordinate with them. Why? Because they want to see your test cases. They want to see your test cases, how you have designed the test cases, how you are working on them. Based on that, they will be designing their own test cases for the load testing. Because this load testing, regression testing is dependent on manual testing. Okay, most of the time it is dependent. Because why dependent? Because once manual testing is completed, then only you have to start regression testing and load testing and performance testing. Okay, you cannot start performance testing before manual testing is done. Okay, most of the time at least. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Stress testing. So in the stress testing, so what you do is, right, it's a similar to load, so not just load. In the load, what we are trying to do was just trying to put users, okay, large amount of users, 1,000 users, 2,000 users, so on. But in the stress testing, not only just load, we are also putting the stress like what? Just clicking this button. So that means, people are logging into this, clicking these buttons, okay, they're clicking these URLs, okay, and so on, okay. So that means 1,000 people are logging into this, 1,000 people are accessing this URL. See, whenever you are clicking this button, right? So whenever you click this button, what happens? It queries the database, it queries the database, it pulls out the information that is stored in the database and shows up here. Okay, so that's how this works. So all this backend work, like database and all this information, images, all are stored in the database. Some database, it can be any database, Oracle database, Teradata database, I don't know, there's a lot of database. It has to be stored at somewhere. Okay, so all this is stored in production database. That will be a production database when no one accesses it. Okay, and whenever a user clicks on this, okay, whatever the okay, so whenever you click on this button, okay, it goes to the database, it pulls out the information from the database and shows up in the UI. Okay, so there is a lot of backend work going on which we don't know. Okay. Okay. So somebody asked a question like, what kind of reports we create after this test? So can you be specific here? Somebody asked this question. What kind of reports are we going to create after this? So can anyone be specific on this? What reports? What do you mean by reports? Here we are actually in a load testing. We are generating the graphs. Okay, not exactly the reports. So as a QA point of view, so normally you are not involved in this QA point of view. Okay, you are not involved in this, but you may be coordinating with the team. You may be coordinating with the performance team. You may be coordinating with the regression team. Okay, you may be coordinating with the middleware team. So this is little bit interrelated. Okay, not really related to QA. Okay, so you are a QA. So as an experience, you may, your boss may tell you to do this because you're saying that I have a pretty good experience. So in that case, they might also tell you to do this. Okay, this is a little bit different. Okay, not really QA point of view, but still it's dependent on QA. Why it is dependent? Because once QA is done, this has to be, done, because this cannot be done beforehand. This has to be done only once QA is done. Okay, you can have performance later or regression, then later performance. Okay. Any more questions? Okay, so let's go to the next topic, usability testing. So what is usability testing? So here what, simple sentences, that's good. You have this user friendliness check. Okay, what are you doing in the usability testing? Is you're trying to test an application, is it user friendly or not? Okay, so let's let's go a little bit, let's take an example here and let's talk about this. Okay, so what kind of what testing is done. So here system navigation is being tested here. Okay, so let's go to let's see, let's quickly go to this Amazon.com again. So here's the thing, I'm a new customer, right? I'm a new customer and I want to buy something, right? Amazon.com, I want to buy something. But here's the thing, what as a tester, what are you going to test as a usability testing? Here I'm taking an example, sign in button. Okay, sign in button. So as a user, as a customer, I want to, have the sign in button right in my front of face, right in front of me. So I don't want sign in button, somewhere here. How would I know even if it is there? So, I cannot expect something, see, I want to buy something and, I want to sign in, okay? Let's say I want to sign in, I'm a returning customer, I've been from long time. If the sign in button is not in that place, that's not user friendly. Why it's not user friendly? So not really in this place, it should be, whenever a customer sees, it has to catch its attention, right? It has to be right in place where a user can sign in. Right? So it has to be, in front of the face, okay, in front of the application. So, this is an example. This is an example of usability testing. Okay, so again, this is done by the requirements. It has to be based on the requirements. Does the really requirement show it is in that place? Does the name is that, that icon is there? So all those things. That's a different story. But as a user, as a customer, I want to make sure that this application should be user friendly. Okay, so that sign in button should be here. If you keep sign in button somewhere in the footer of this page of a web page, then it doesn't make sense, right? As a customer, I don't know, I don't even know where the sign in button. I want to buy this, but there is no sign in button. So, I said, no, this is not good. I'll buy from somewhere else. Now business loses. Here is the way business is lost. Okay, so we don't want to lose business, right? So that's the reason an application should be user friendly. Why user friendly? Because customer has to come, repeatedly, right? They have to come repeatedly, and they have to, oh, this website is good. I want to buy. This has good stuff, and I want to buy. User friendly. This website is. So that's why you need this usability testing, right? So that means what are you testing here? User friendliness. Is that application user friendly or not? Okay. Right. So next, any questions so far? So let's go to the next topic: install and uninstall testing. Okay. So in install testing, right? So this is more related to client application. So client application is something which are installed in a system, in an, it's installed. See, whenever you install an application, as I told you before, lot of things happens at the back end. And DLL files gets updated, registry files get updated, and a lot of files get show up. Okay, so a lot of things happen. Okay, so you need to test all this. Okay, so that's called. So once you install this, you need to test that. Once you uninstall that, that means you're removing all the files by normally you uninstall either from the control panel, or if you have that option with uninstall, you do this uninstall. You cannot just delete a file just like that and say I uninstall this application. That doesn't work that way. If you are doing that, it may, that may cause improper function of your system. Okay, because lot of files are dependent on other files. So if you are deleting the files which only you see, you are not looking at the which are files which are you don't see, because there are files that are hidden. Okay, that are system files. So that's why you cannot delete a file just like that when you install something. So it has to go the proper procedure, for uninstall. So that's called uninstall. So install and uninstall testing. So testing an application after installing. Okay, and after uninstalling is called install and uninstall testing. Okay, so it's based on the different operating systems. Okay, it might be, it might be Windows, it might be Unix. Okay, it might be Mac, so on. Any questions so far? Okay. So let's go to the next topic, recovery testing. Okay. So this is, recovery testing is like, let's say you're browsing an application and suddenly it gets crashed. So how soon, it recovers from the crash? So it's automatic. Normally it's automatic. How soon it recovers? To test that, it's called recovery testing. Okay. So whenever an application gets crashed, okay, because of some reason, maybe hardware failures or some other reason, and how soon it gets recovered from the crash, okay, to test that recovery is called recovery testing. Okay, so let's move to the next one. You have security testing. Okay, so here what we'll be doing is like you want to test an application, is it secure or not? Okay, you want to see an application is secure or not. Let's take an example here. Okay, so let's go to, let's see here google.com. Okay, so whenever you are trying to access this URL, so this is an URL, right? And whenever you have this, right, HTTPS. So that means HTTPS means Hypertext Transfer Protocol. S means secure. Okay, so what's the big deal in this HTTPS and HTTP? Okay, so it's not just one word, put just one word and it doesn't work that way. HTTPS means it is this, there is a certificate which is generated at the back end. You don't have access to the server. So at the server, there is a certificate which is there. What it does, whenever you are doing something online, if you are in HTTPS, it communicates to that Google server with encrypted. That means, so let's say when I'm typing this hello, okay, whenever I'm typing something, it gets encrypted. Some random words, okay, they have some algorithm, okay, that goes to algorithm and they encrypt that, and it only gets decrypted at the end of the server, okay, at the Google server, it gets decrypted and it shows up here. Why do you want this? Because you don't want someone else viewing your information. This is very important when you are giving your credit card information, when you are giving your address, so all those things. So whenever you want to do, you want to make sure it's HTTPS, not HTTP. HTTP is unsecure. Okay, so that is security testing. Yes, without having any practical knowledge, I would say you can do it. Only thing, you can see, if you don't know something, you need to Google it. That's that's the only solution. Why? Everyone Googles it, right? Even if you see the developers how they are working, even they don't know everything. The developers even have experience from 10 years, 20 years. They don't know. They have to Google it because somebody else implemented something and maybe they left a job, okay, maybe they don't want to work or something, and they left this, and they left the code the same way, and it has been years that code is there and nobody is working on it. Now suddenly some issue shows up. Now the developer don't know, right? That guy left long back. So now you have to Google it. So that's the only answer there. Okay, even if you don't know, you need to Google it. That's it. Okay. So that's security testing. So even experience, even if you're not experienced, the only thing you need to do is you need to work yourself. Okay, because nobody knows, right? Okay. So let's quickly check to the other two slides. Go to the next slide. Okay, we have this. Compatibility testing. So we want to see this compatible. So compatibility of an application. Okay, web application. So you want to see how the application is compatible to the hardware, compatible to the software, compatible to the operating system, and so on. How it's compatible. Okay, so that's called compatibility testing. You want to see. Okay, so normally if it's a client application, you want to install it. Okay, install the application in your system and verify it. Is it compatible or not? Okay, and then you have this comparison testing. In this comparison testing, you will compare the two products of this different versions. Okay, so as I explained you, let's quickly check again. So you have these two versions. Let's take here Firefox. Okay, Firefox is this is one version. Okay, and the next version, we have this 52. So you want to see the 51st version and 52 version. Okay, so you want to compare what are the various features that are there in 51st version and the 52nd version. So that's called comparison testing. You are comparing between two different versions, right? Okay, so that's the same application, different version, right? Okay, so let's move to the next topic, alpha testing. So what do you do in this alpha testing? So normally here we have this in-house virtual user environment. So this alpha testing is normally done by the developers once it's once the code is good, once this code is approved in the dev environment, once it's good, you want to do this alpha testing. Okay, so this is a job of normally a developer, but technically anyone can do it because this is in-house version. Anyone who is responsible on this, it can be business analyst, it can be a tester, it can be a developer, it can be a, Scrum Master don't do all this, they don't have time for this, okay? And it can be architect guys, it can be, anyone who is, responsible for that, okay? Even business analysts do their own testing. They have their own testing because they want to make sure, what the business wants and how the application is designed. Is the business is looking for the same application or not? So they will be doing their own way of testing, okay? So that's called alpha testing. So alpha testing is the in-house virtual user environment. Okay, mostly done by the developers. Go to the next one. So next you have this beta testing. So what is beta testing? So let's say you have done all this. So once the code is the code is completed in dev environment, the code is moved to the test environment, and let's say it's good, testing has been good, and once the testing is done, okay, sorry about that. Okay, so let's so beta testing. So what happens, right? In beta testing, once the code is released from the dev environment, it moves to the next test environment, and then it moves to the production environment. Right? That's good. We know all this. We have completed our testing. Good. Now business doesn't like, okay, so they know, that, okay, this testing is not done properly. We have done a lot of testing, we have completed performance testing, we have done regression testing, okay, we have even done alpha testing, but, business knows, okay, we know this job is not done good. So what they do is they say to the customers, who are the customers? The users, the customers who are actually, the people who are buying the product, okay, people who are buying the actual software product, okay, they will be looking into their application, and if there are any issues, they will be reporting to the concerned person to fix that issue. So that's called beta testing. So not full product, just in demo version or it's just a demo version. Okay, it's normally full product is never released, and they say that test this demo version. You find any issues, report the issues. Okay, so that's called beta testing. Because why do we need this beta testing? Again, it's up to the business. If business wants beta testing to be done, then it will be done by the users, customers who actually buy the product. Okay, so this is the final testing before releasing application for commercial purpose. Okay, any questions so far? So, okay, so let's let's talk about this. Let's say you've gone into a project. Okay, so you've gone this project. You know all of the testing. So we know all of the testing. What we need to do. We know functional testing. We know regression testing. We know performance testing. We know everything. Okay, so we are aware of all types of testing there. Okay, now you've gone to the project, right? You've gone to the project, and you have talked to your lead, and your lead said, okay, you need to work on this. Okay, this is the application which is going to be released by next month. It has to be in production. Okay, so now your lead didn't give that much information, but somehow you found that information. This is the URL of this, and this is in, let's say this is in test environment. Good. So you're working on test environment. You need to make sure. Okay, good. Now you get this website, right? Now you need to test. Okay, so now your job is to test application. That's what your job is, right? You need to test. So now what are you going to test? But that's not even a question. Okay, so you're not supposed to ask a question to the lead. What am I supposed to test? Okay, that's not even a question, because you are an experienced guy, and as a tester, as a QA, I know what I need to test, right? So you need to test everything. Okay, you need to test everything unless specified. Okay, so you need to ask questions like, are we going to do all of this testing, like regression testing, performance testing, everything, or we are sticking to some kind of testing and working on that? So that's the question you need to ask. So once you have, let's say you got this website, okay, and you're given a job to test this. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so you think that this is good, okay, so what's the big deal? I'll just go here and I'll just do this testing, place an order. It's good, proceed with order. So this. Okay, good. And I put this. Oops. Okay. And I just placed an order. Oops. Get it. Thank you. And this product will ship. Okay, this product, which of 10 quantity, will ship to this address. Okay, on my name, and this is my phone number, and they will be reaching to that, and we are good. So this is not testing. This is not the testing we do. This is only one flow. We have just went one flow. Okay, so let me ask you this. Did anyone saw any defects here? Any issues when I'm doing this? Can anyone answer me? Did anyone see any issues while doing this? If you didn't find any issues, If you didn't find any bugs, then you are doing it wrong. Okay. Okay. See, okay, somebody found some issue, right? There is no summary there. Okay, so those kind of things, okay, that is based on requirement document. So you need to look into the requirements. Okay, so here we don't have requirements, so we'll not worry about that. So we'll not worry about the summary. We are not worrying about, okay, this image should be in the left side, it has to be in middle, it has to be right side. No, we are not worrying on that for now. Okay, so we are not worrying about those things. Okay, so let's go back and do some testing here. So here is the thing. If you didn't find any issues while testing an application, then you are doing it wrong. Okay, so that's the thing you need to remember. Okay, so let's go here. Enter GM Online. Okay, so here's the thing. Whenever you start testing, you need to have the scenarios ready. So what are the scenarios? There are 3 types of scenarios: positive scenario, negative scenario, and boundary values. Okay, let's take it here. What's a positive scenario? So this order quantity should be always at digits. So you cannot enter alphabets here. Okay, if you get an alphabet, it throws an error. Okay, so let's not worry about it for now. I'll show it later. Okay, that will be a negative scenario. Positive. What is the positive scenario? Positive scenario should be numbers 1, 2, 3. Okay, starting from 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that's a positive scenario. What are the boundary values? Boundary values are like, you don't want to enter 0.001, so you cannot enter a value such as 0.01. Okay, so there is no quantity of such kind. Okay, they are not shipping you 0.01 product. Okay, so they will be shipping you 1, 2, 3. Okay, so those numbers. Okay, right? So let's take an example. Let me show you one defect. Okay, let me show you. Actually, no, you know what? I'll show you like 3 defects. Let's go with the 3 defects. Okay, remaining, you need to do the homework. I'll be giving you homework. Okay. Please make sure that don't submit your homework what I have said in the class. You need to be, you need to find your own issues. There are plenty of issues. Trust me, you'll find better than me. Okay, there are plenty of issues here. Okay, so let me give you one issue here. So let's say I'm ordering a large quantity. I'm testing, right? So while testing, I need to make sure everything. So everything means everything. So here, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to order in large quantity. Okay. Okay, so next I click this place an order. Okay, so here's the thing. Okay, here we have an issue. Can anyone tell me what's the exact issue here? So, what I'm trying to do is, I'm trying to order large quantities here, right? Those large quantities, and the issue in this page. Can anyone tell what the issue is? Okay, good. Anyone else? Yes. So someone answered, right? Shipping and handling fee. So when you are trying to order these many quantities, well, let's take an example here that let's say they are shipping it from USPS. So do you think these many large quantities is shipped just for $5, after paying this total price of that much, does really you think that USPS charges $5? So that's an issue there. Okay, shipping and handling fee is not getting updated. Okay, at the end of the day, they might say, okay, so you are ordering these many quantities, we are good, we'll give you for free. That's a different story altogether. But when you're ordering, shipping and handling fee is showing as $5. Okay, that is an issue. Does everyone agree with that? Okay. So that's an issue. Whenever you're trying to order, so now you need to see that. Okay, so when I'm trying to order large quantities, shipping and handling fee showing as $5. So that's an issue. Okay, let's take another example. Okay, let's take another example. Just reset this. So that was just one issue. Okay, we find just one issue here. Now, let's click on this. So these are URLs. Okay, so these URLs 3% dominant. Let's click on this. Okay, so what does it say? We get some more information by just clicking on that. Okay, good. In stock it says 23. So that means you cannot order more than 23, right? So now this gets serious. Okay, so it gets pretty serious here. So here you have in stock it's 23, right? If in stock is 23, that means they have backlog items. So you cannot order more than 23. Now, let's click on, it says only 23. Okay, I'm clicking on this order. Whoa, it's acceptance. Okay, order 100, proceed with order. Okay, and I want to go this. And previous. Oh. So now, as it was clearly shown that in stock is 23. Now, but I ordered 100. So the customer will not get 100 items. He will get only 23. But the customer paid for 100 items. That's like, it's like around 31,000, $503.95. Now, when the customer gets 23, now that's not good. Okay, because he says like I ordered 100 and I'm getting 23. He'll be calling that guy and saying, what's going on? Why? So they never gave that information there. So gets upset. Fights a lawsuit, and a lot of things happen. So you don't need that. Okay, so because this business is a loss. Okay, you'll get lost in the business. So that's the reason. Okay, you need to make sure this testing is done properly. So here's the thing. It's in stock 23. You cannot order more than 23. If you order more than 23, it has to be some, some indication, like enter only 23, just like this. So please don't throw only digits. Okay. So does that make sense to everyone? Good. So that is, that is a second defect. Okay. That's a second. I mean, this is pretty serious. Like I would take it as pretty serious defect, right? The moment I find this defect, I'm running to the lead. Okay, saying that, hey, this is what happening. This is 23 and I'm ordering 100 and he's going through and customer has already paid that amount of money. Okay, customer has paid 100, amount of 100 quantity, but the customer will only get 23 because there's only in stock, it's only 23. There's not more than that. Now that's pretty serious issue. Okay, so I would take it, no, okay, it's as a business, it's taken as medium, but it's a pretty serious for a customer, okay? You know, you want to make sure that thing doesn't happen. Because, why? It gets into production, let's say this, you know, this thing, this code went through the production, and if somebody catches that in production, then you are getting caught, not the developer. The developer is safe. You're the one who will be getting caught, saying that why it was not tested in QA, why it has to be in production. That's the first question will be raised by your boss. Okay, why it was not tested in QA, why it was not tested in regression, why it was not tested before, why it is in production. Okay, so now that is pretty serious. Okay, and it has, and even if it, let's say even if it is skipped in production and you know it's gone, and the user, you know, if it comes back from the user, now that's a bigger issue again. Okay, that's, we don't want to even, you know about it. Okay, so it's better, it's always better to take an issue before itself, right? Okay, so there are two issues. Now one more issue and we'll be good. Okay, so okay, so here's the thing. So it says, like, you know, order quantity. Order quantity, as I told you, it should be always in numbers. Why? Because quantity is, okay, here quantity is number. So it has to be 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now let's say, no, I'm trying to order a quantity of A. So that doesn't make sense. Right? Oh. So how in quantity of A is, you know, it's going to the, you know, it's going through this page, and you're getting, like, you know, total price $0 and grand total of $5. What's this all about? And once you click on this, okay, and you place this order. Whoa, so that a customer has bought a quantity A and he will be billed for $5. That's a bug, right? For bill for what? Because it's not getting any product here, because quantity is not A, quantity should be in numbers. So this is an issue. Okay, so this is an issue. So these are the, like, I know I've shown you an example. These are the 3 examples that you need to, you need to see, look into this. You know, this is where you need to do such testing here. Okay, so this is what, you'll be doing this. This is the functional testing. So I'm just, I will start about these fields. Okay. 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 So I know we just talk about this. Okay. So somebody asked, right? Somebody asked a question like, how many QA people are involved to test this one field? So I would say whole application should be tested by one QA. No more than one for the whole application. So what is that whole application? That includes these 3 buttons. These 3 buttons: images, text, header, footer, URLs, everything. Okay, so all this is should be tested by one guy, one person, no more than one. Does it make sense? Because here you need to do all three kinds of testing here. Whenever you are entering this field, you need to come up with passive scenario. See, even passive scenario, we found defect, right? We entered only numbers, and that's not even valid number. Why? Because in stock it's 23. Okay, but we need to test. We don't know that bug is there until we test it, right? So we need to test that. Okay, so we cannot skip the testing. Okay, and the second is negative scenario, where you will be entering instead of digits, you will be entering other than that. And the third is boundary values. It's like 0.001, and we want to place an order and showing an error. Okay, I'm somehow skip this error. Maybe let's say it didn't show that error. And it took into the next website, and you're billing for $5.31. For order quantity 0.001. So this doesn't make sense. So this is an issue. Okay. So they are like, always you need to test for three scenarios: positive scenario, negative scenario, and boundary values. Right? Any questions so far? Good. So, this is what, as a QA, as a software tester, okay, it doesn't have to be in QA front-end testing, even back-end testing, you need to do the same. It's not same, similar. Okay, you will be writing the SQL queries there. Here what we are doing is, we are testing this with, inputting some data. Okay, we are entering some data here, wrong data, good data, still it shows an error. See, here's the thing. Whenever you test anything as a software tester, you need to have an opinion that there will be a defect. Always as a tester, you need to make sure that there should be a defect. Okay. If you don't have an opinion, of course, you will not find any defects. As I told you, right? We went this 10, okay, good. We went through, I didn't find any defects, the application is good. So that doesn't work that way. Why? Because you have just entered some value which is good, you don't do that. Okay, that's okay. You just go and flow, that's fine. But, okay, you need to test an application completely, because the more defects you open, the more issues you will raise, the better your position will be. Just keep in mind, as a QA tester, QA analyst, okay, as a QA engineer, okay, the more defects you open, the better position you will be. Okay, now they cannot see, let's say you have opened some 2-3 defects, and they cannot remove you, right? Because who is going to fix this? If it's going, to be delayed, then it will be, who's going to do that job? If you want to hire some other guy, it takes time. It takes 2 months, 3 months, and 2 months it has to go in production. Nobody has time for that, right? So if you are opening defects, that's good. That's good. You need to keep on opening defects. But at the same time, okay. Okay. Thank you for reminding me. Okay. So, testing, so somebody asked, right? So testing is done in Excel. I'm not sure what the question is. It's based on the companies, okay? So, yes, so you need to see, normally testing I would say my personal opinion 1 week, but you have to complete your testing in 1 week. So it don't have to be that way. It depends on the company policies, how many, how much time they're taking, how it should be implemented, all those things. Okay, so it might take more than a week, less than a week, or sometimes 2-3 days. That's it. Okay, so it's completely based on company policies, how they are trying to implement it. Okay. Okay. So any questions? So if nobody has questions, can we close this class for today? So I'll be make sure you do the homework. Okay. I'll be sending you the homework. Make sure that. Okay. Just don't give me the defects which I have shown you in the class. Okay. Make sure you come up with your own issues. There are issues on every page. You need to just look around it. Okay, you need to just look around it and see that, and you'll find a pretty good issues which even I cannot see it. Okay, so make sure you see all these three buttons, and do all three kinds of testing: positive, negative, and boundary values. Okay, so if no one have any questions, can we close this class for today? Okay, thank you guys.